morning, afternoon, or evening, as the case may be, in your part of the world. This is Zen Archer, and another episode of Ask Zen Archer. This really is not a question-answer thing, the way that some of the other Ask Zens have been. I found a particular video by a friend of mine named Jeremy, and in it he was expressing his frustration because it's the end of college, and he's got papers to do, and he's looking at his grades, and he's finding that he's failing. And he hasn't gone out and partied. He hasn't, slept his life away. He's kept his nose to the grindstone. He's gone to his classes. He's done everything that you're supposed to do, except when he takes the tests, his grades don't reflect the work that he's put into it. In addition, he's asking, if I fail, does that mean I'm not going to make it in life? Or does that mean I have to give up my dream of doing what I want to do? And he mentions that his friends are classically trained, and he's self-taught when it comes to his music. And he's changed direction. He originally wanted to score music, and now he's thinking about videography and doing that kind of thing. And Jeremy seems to be really struggling with the real question. It seems to be that he's disappointing himself, he's disappointing his colleagues, he's disappointing his teachers, he's disappointing his friends and his family and his mother, and on top of all of that, he's beginning to question if he's really going to be able to make it in the world doing what he really wants to do. Yes, Jeremy, you are. As long as you don't give up your vision, yes, you are. I'm going to address a couple of the things that I've mentioned specifically. First of all, you say in your video that school's not for everyone, and you're correct there. School is not for everyone. Different people learn in a different way. Some people are very graphically minded, other people are very analytically minded, and if you take a subject that's as broad as art, usually those people are more graphically oriented. If you try to teach them in a regimented way, if you try to teach them this, and this, they're often not going to get it because things just don't connect for them in that way. I'm a graphically minded person, and my mind races all of the time. As a result, I learn about things in a different way. There's a lot of things that I can't do. I'm lousy at mathematics. Well, the funny thing is, though, geometry and algebra I do relatively good at. It's just basic mathematics that I have a problem with because I can't relate the numbers to anything. Well, I'm just not an analytical type of person. I found ways around it, and you do that. But don't sell the education short. The whole purpose of going to college and taking these classes is to give you the foundation on which to build. And one foot goes in front of the other, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we don't learn as fast as other people do. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the light bulb to come on for us. But it will come on as long as you're there. And another thing is you have to realize that your version of success or what you're expecting yourself might be different than what it should be. You may be measuring yourself by their yardstick. Measuring your success by what they say your success is, and that might not be true in your case. Success may be something that's very personal to you, and maybe what you should be looking at is, am I where I want to be in my life? Rather than, did they give me an A or a D? when I was growing up and going to college and the like, I ran into certainly my share of problems, and I had quite a few people tell me that, you know, I was no accountant, I was never going to amount to anything, and I was never going to be anybody, and I thought at that time that that was a really important thing. But that was their hopes and aspirations for me, and I discovered that, you know, it wasn't so bad not measuring up to their yardstick. I'm relatively successful. I'm very, you know, happy with who I am and where I'm at in my life. Not to say that I'm content. Of course, there are other things that I want and more places that I'd like to go and do. But I found a peace, you know, with who I am and where I'm going. And I'm enjoying the journey. And maybe that's kind of where you have to be. Also, did you ever notice, Jeremy, that when you were learning the instrument that you wanted to learn and being self-taught, I know that what I'm about to say is true, it didn't come that hard. You would learn your chords and your notes, and other people who were outside of what you were doing would tell you, like, you know, oh my God, how did you do that? Well, the reason that you could do that was because you were driven. And because you were driven, all of your attention was there. Because the want to and the need to make that music was built in you. And so learning to do it was easy, something that would take others for years. I have a brother that plays trumpet. I don't play the trumpet, but I have a brother that plays trumpet. And he had to practice 2-3 hours a day, every day. And he got good grades at what he did, but he busted his ass to do it. I can pick up any musical instrument, and if I can get a sound out of it, I can get a song out of it. It's not always the most pleasant song if I'm not familiar with the instrument, but I can make music with any instrument I pick up. That's just me. I have the talent and not the drive. He had the drive. He's played more concerts than I have. He was in the marching band and all of that. But he sweated bullets to do that. I wasn't in marching band, but I was also, you know, in the school bands, and I went out and played gigs and got paid for doing it, which he never did, and got, you know, cold hard cash for what I was doing and for being entertaining, and I didn't have to work at it. You know, the fact of the matter is, I had a handful of songs written on a piece of paper taped to the back of a guitar, and then I would edit those when I was playing the gig. But I picked it up easy because that's the way that I learned, and because, you know, because I had the ability to do so. I can't practice an instrument. I lose interest in it, and when I lose interest in it, I stop learning. So maybe that's part of the problem, is just that your interest isn't there. You're also discounting a lot of things that are important. Doing those, you know, those papers and reading those books are important. They're a groundwork, and they're a frame on which you build your dream. But that will come in time, and as you get more involved in what you're doing, those things will become more important to you. And honestly, as you age, you will discover that you're missing things, and you will go back and revisit those things. And the surprising thing is, once you have more life experiences, those things, it'll be as if somebody turned a light bulb on. So don't sweat the small stuff. Just don't sweat it. It'll be okay. Now, you're worried about disappointing your family and your friends. Well, your family and your friends should be the type of people who will support you. And sometimes their disappointment is that they had higher hopes for you based on somebody else's yardstick. What you need to show them is what your vision is, where you want to go, what your plan is to get there, and that you're moving forward in that plan. If you show them, Jeremy, if you show them that you're moving forward, that you're getting closer to where you want to be in your life, and that you're getting closer to happiness in doing what you're doing, they will support you. Right now, they just think you're screwing up. They think you're passing up opportunities. And they're in your court. They want you to be successful. So it's disappointing when what society in general believes is successful, when you don't meet that, they're disappointed. But when you're doing what you love, and they see the enjoyment that you're getting out of it, and you do start getting paid because you've gotten your product in front of the right people who saw the creativity in you, they will be your biggest fans, and they will be the people who cheer the loudest, and they'll be the ones that go to work and say, my son is doing this. So don't sweat the small stuff. They love you and they're on your side. A lot of people don't go to school and they're successful. A lot of people who do go to school fail and are successful. You know, Einstein, I think it was, failed English. I know a little bit about country music. That's what I listen to mostly. I like other things, but mostly I listen to country. And I can tell you that there are people like Kid Rock who constantly would move up the ladder and be knocked back down. And you couldn't go to school to learn rap. You know, that was something you had to teach yourself. But he had a vision, and he knew where he wanted to be, and he knew who he wanted to be, and he didn't stop, and he didn't let the frustration get him. And when his girlfriend became pregnant, or his wife became pregnant, and he had a baby, he did what he needed to do, but he did it within the confines of his vision. And today he is one of the most successful rap artists that are out there, by far. And he's not just in the rap and the hip-hop field, he's also in the country field. He's gone a step farther than most of those people have, because he has a vision, and because he has a talent, and because he would not stop. And that's who you need to be. You know, there's a girl by the name of Gretchen Wilson, sings a song, oh, I forgot what the darn song is right at the moment. But her mom was a drunk. And in order to make ends meet with no money, she at 14 years old, she was serving alcohol in a bar and getting up and singing once in a while. And decided that what she wanted to do was be a singer. And she did the things she needed to do to get there. She knew that she needed to get to Nashville. She knew that she needed to get her songs in front of some people. And so she went. And she, you know, she got a job in a bar, and she managed to get a chance to sing every once in a while, and that was great. And she got lucky because another couple artists named Big and Rich happened to be in there one night and hear her sing and say, why don't you have a contract? That was frickin' awesome. And they made sure that she saw the right people because they could see the talent that she had. So don't give up your dreams. You know, don't lose your vision. Do what you've got to do. Stop measuring yourself by their yardstick. And if college isn't for you, wasting your time with college. Do what is going to get you closer to your goal. And if you can't take the conventional route, if you can't move the rock, if a water can't move the rock that is in the middle of the stream, it goes around that rock. Now it constantly erodes the rock very slowly, very carefully. It always goes back and gives it an extra tap, but it doesn't let it stop its flow. And that's what you need to be. You need to be like water. Understand the obstacles that you cannot go through. Find your way around them, and constantly, gradually, change your path, change your direction to get you to your goal. I hope this has helped a little bit. I don't know if it did. I don't know if you understand what I said. You're welcome to ask me more questions if you would like. If anybody else out there has questions that you'd like to ask me about balance, about Zen, about meditation, or just about, you know, why your car doesn't start, please feel free to do so in a private message to me here on YouTube. And until next time, Be well.